Good evening and welcome to the FRC Media Studios at Bristol Community College for tonight's Fall River Mayoral debate. My name is Keith Tebow, Director of FRC Media, and I'll be serving as the moderator for tonight's debate. Voters in Fall River will go to the polls on November 4th to decide who will be the mayor of the city for the next 2 years. Both candidates on the ballot are with us tonight. Incumbent Fall River Mayor Paul Coogan and his challenger Gabriel Boomer Amaral. Thank you both for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Asking questions tonight are Michael Sylvia of the Fall River Reporter, Pamela Martin from Fall River Government Television, Dan Medeiros of the Herald News, and Jamie Tyrell from WSAR Radio. Thank you for joining us tonight. The format for tonight's debate is as follows. The debate will last 60 minutes. Each candidate will deliver a 90-second opening statement. Then our panelists will ask questions of the candidates. Both candidates will have 90 seconds to answer each question. Then we will also allow each candidate to have a 1-minute rebuttal for each question if they so choose to use that extra 1 minute. At the end of the debate, each candidate will be allowed to deliver a 90-second closing statement. All right, let's get started. The order of the opening statement was determined by draw, and first up will be Gabriel Boomer Amaral. Mr. Amaral, 90 seconds.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Gabriel Boomer Amaral, and like you, I'm a father, a taxpayer, I'm a veteran. I live every day in this city the same struggles that you do. We all see it day in and day out. We all have the same fears for our children. We all want the best for our children. We all want what's best for our families and all. We have also seen over the last 6 years that that's not what we're getting for our money. After tonight, and hopefully after all of the other interviews we've done and the other debates we've done, you can clearly see that the mayor has had his time. He's had his chances. He's had 6 years to make life better here. Things aren't blown out of proportion. Crime is a problem here. Our education system is failing. Our taxes are through the roof. The average person in Fall River cannot afford to live here. I'm just like you. I'm just the one that gets lucky enough to have to fight the fight and go through getting dragged through the mud to be up here to hopefully get there so we can work at it and fix it and make it better for tomorrow. And I'm looking for your vote on November 4th.
Thank you. Mayor Coogan, 90 seconds.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mayor Paul Coogan. I want to thank the Fall River Reporter, SAR, and FRG TV for hosting this debate tonight. I also want to thank everyone who's watching and listening for caring about the future of Fall River. I first ran for mayor in 2019 because I believed the city deserved steady, honest, and trustworthy leadership, the kind that doesn't chase headlines, but just shows up and does the work. From day one, I've made integrity the standard in City Hall, not the exception. I show up every day, I listen, I lead by example with transparency and respect. I've been present and accountable in everything from economic development to public safety. I've led with a clear purpose to move Fall River forward in a way that benefits everyone. We've invested millions in bolstering our police, fire, and EMS departments so our neighborhoods would feel safe again. We've increased our funding for youth outreach and addiction recovery because public safety isn't just about response, it's also about prevention. Our stabilization fund is at the highest it's ever been, and we've invested in our schools and infrastructure. We've secured millions in state and federal grants so we can do these things without burdening our working families. This kind of progress does not happen by accident. It takes hard work, experience, and real leadership. That's why I'm respectfully asking for your vote on November 4th, because together we will keep Fall River moving in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first question tonight will be from Michael Sylvia of the Fall River Reporter, and it will be directed to Mayor Coogan.
Yesterday, former Mayor Will Flanagan was stabbed 5 times on Hartwell Street, just a minute walk from the Fall River Government Center. In your view, is Fall River a safe city, and what is your plan for public safety going forward?
Fall River is a safe city. Do we have areas that need addressing? Absolutely. Like every city in the country that has a police department, there is more work to do. I just got the year-to-date statistics on a number of the crimes. Confirmed shootings are down 40% in the last year. In Fall River this year, we've had 2 homicides. Both are domestics. No gang shootings, nobody getting murdered in the city. Fall River has a number of challenges, obviously, from filling our police department, and we've worked diligently on that with the goal by the end of the year to have a full complement of policemen. We're bringing them in, we're putting them in a class, we're training them up. And one of the incentives that I brought forward was paying for all their gear and their equipment so they can do the job without being burdened by bills if they'll commit to Fall River for 5 years. I think that program is helping these guys because it's a $5,000 or $6,000 bill. At the same time, we bought the e-bikes to clean up the rail trail and allow our policemen to go up and down areas that they usually wouldn't walk. There's so many things going on in the police department. Our budget over the last 6 years from 2020 to 2026 has gone up 25% in the police department. We have additional equipment, manpower, using ARPA and a series of grants. We brought money to the table. Do we have warts? Absolutely. I make no doubt about it. I did go to St. Luke's today to try to get in to see former Mayor Willard Flanagan, but he's not taking visitors at this time.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I expect to get back and hopefully see him tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Amaral.
Well, thankfully, Mayor Flanagan is strong and stronger than we all thought he was, and a lot like the others that have been shot and stabbed throughout the city. One on Sunday, Mayor Flanagan on Monday, and here we are today talking about how safe the city is. So I disagree. Yeah, murders might be down, but the attempted murders are up, clearly. So that's not the case. The city is not safe. We can talk about the funding all we want. Our police department has been fully funded. It's an issue within as far as not keeping and retaining our police officers. Our experienced police officers are leaving in droves. Our newer police officers aren't lasting very long because they're being worn out because of the constant overtime, and they can't get the job done. They just can't do it. They are working day and night, literally, and we are breaking our police officers. As you can see, we have great police officers, great detectives, and they do an amazing job. We can't keep wearing them out and burning them out without being able to retain more police officers to give them the breaks that they need to be at the best of their game and the best of their abilities. We are not safe. Thank God, and prayers with the Flanagan family and the family on Sunday and everybody else that gets gunned down and knifed in the city. Thankfully, they're strong people, and hopefully we can correct the issues and get ahead of it instead of again being reactive.
Thank you. Thank you. Mayor Coogan, 1 minute rebuttal.
My opponent is he says things, but he has no numbers to back him up. We are now keeping our police officers in. We are losing one that's going to Florida because of a family situation, but our retention rate has been going up steadily over the last 3 or 4 months. To that end, with the equipment we have now, with the guys we're bringing in, I think we will have a full complement. Today, I received a letter from the Police Association endorsing me for mayor. It's very special for me, and it's humbling that they put their faith in me because they know I work closely with the police. When we're out walking through homeless camps and the police are there, or there's a crime scene, I try to be there. I don't go to all of them. I don't do that. But I get around and I make sure I keep an eye on things, and I work closely with these guys, whether it's in the schools, on the streets, or while I watch and observe what they're doing on investigations. We have a good police force. I will not put those guys down. They work hard, and I support them.
Nobody is putting the police force down. Nobody. Our police force, like I said, is by far the best I've ever seen. However, the leadership, the lawsuits, the cover-ups, that's not our police officers that are on the street. That's not our detectives that are on the street. That's the people that you're handpicking and putting in place. Those are the people we're talking about here. We're not talking about our everyday police officers. We know they are the best of the best, and we appreciate everything about them. Maybe a handful have gotten, into the wrong thing or something bad happened, whatever it may have been, but that doesn't speak for all of them. So nobody's putting them down. As far as, you say on one hand that there's no numbers, you say it's safe, and then on the next hand you're saying you're at the crime scenes with them. Which is it? If it's safe and the crime is down, why are you at crime scenes? The crime scenes that you're at because they exist. So I don't care about the endorsement stuff and the favoritism and who you put in positions to make sure they can give you those things. That's fine. We're used to that stuff. That's your leadership. That's been your leadership. I expect that. The endorsement from a select few that you put in place is not the endorsement of the whole.
Thank you. Thank you. Pam Martin has our next question, and it'll be directed to Mr. Amaral.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
The Veterans Association of Bristol County purchased a building. It's about 3 times the size of their current space. The agency plans to move into these new headquarters on Globe Street in the spring of 2026. If elected, how will your administration assist with this endeavor and guarantee there will be no gap in services for our vets?
I'm going to work closely with the veterans. I served 19 years in the military and still currently in the military. So serving my veterans is paramount for me. All public safety, obviously, but paramount for the veterans. Those in need, those that need those services, require those services. I understand what that's like. I've dealt with it firsthand. I deal with these people firsthand. I have to guide them myself and where to go, where to direct them for the whole state. So not missing a beat, trying to get ahead of that, making sure that the VSO is on point, making sure all the veteran associations are on point ahead of time, checking, rechecking the data, making sure everybody's on where they need to be, and going and making sure the facilities are on point, making sure that that stuff is taken care of ahead of time instead of waiting for something to go wrong and then showing up.
Thank you. Mayor Coogan.
I do want to go back to the last question. The only person a mayor picks as in the police department is a police chief. So there's no hand-picked guys getting promotions. Those are all civil service appointments. I don't know if he understands how that works. You take a test, you score, and you do your interviews. As far as the veterans moving down to the Tuscan building on Globe Street, I think it's going to be a great spot for them. They already have rents existing in the building, which will help support their day-in, day-out operations. I think it's a good move. There's additional parking. They may need a little zoning relief, which I'm going to support to help them get what they need in the front of that building. They want to do a food pantry there. And when they leave behind Pine Street, that's also an area where we think we can headquarter some other veterans groups that have been looking for space as long as I've been in here. So if we're able to capitalize on both spaces, Kenny Levesque and the guys over there did a great job, and they'll be able to expand their services to the veterans, resume writing, job skills, bring in speakers. Now they have the space to do all those things instead of that little cramped Pine Street. But at the same time, we can utilize the space in Pine Street to expand some of our veterans programs.
Thank you. Mr. Amaral, 1-minute rebuttal.
Everything sounds great, and it's fantastic in his great big book of everything that's written for him. He's had 6 years to do all this. It's never happened. Never once has he pushed for it. Never once has it been done. Election year, here we are. All of a sudden, the money's available. All of a sudden, the time is available. The resources are available. Everybody's searching and going to go all out and make sure that they have everything that they need. That happens every election. And after the election's over, nobody gets what they need. It's the same rhetoric that we hear again and again. He's had 6 years. 6 years. We're still here. The veterans are still struggling. They don't have what they need. Police are still understaffed. Fire's still understaffed, don't have what they need. We lost 10 lives to prove that. These are the things that we always get promised we don't have. I've been working with the Vets Kitchens and Veteran Centers forever, long before I even thought about running for mayor. They're in the same spots. That doesn't change. It doesn't change because it's just words.
Thank you. Mayor Coogan, 1 minute.
Yeah, I haven't seen them at any of the veterans' kitchens I go to. I haven't seen them at Pine Street when they have their yearly cookouts and barbecues. I've seen other elected officials there and other concerned residents that do come in. So I don't know what he's talking about there. And this hasn't been, I didn't purchase this building. The veterans were looking for a bigger spot. They got the funding, they got the financing. They're going forward with something they want to do. I support them. As I said, if we can help them with zoning and if we can use the left behind, that left behind building is a city building, Pine Street, so that we can scoop up and put some other veterans groups in there and give them a second home. I'm not against any of that, but there's been 6 years to do it. They did that. Kenny came to me and said, we're looking at the Tuscan building. I said, good luck. I'm not taking credit for it. They did it. More power to them. We like independent leaders throughout the community, and Kenny and the guys over at Pine Street are doing a great job, and I support them.
Thank you. Dan Medeiros is next with our next question, and it will be directed to Mayor Coogan.
Fall River's municipal budget has swelled in recent years, rising to almost $500 million in fiscal 2026. How can you, as the mayor, prove to the city's people that this money is being spent wisely and that you are the one responsible enough to manage it?
Right. Well, we look at the city budget, and the predominant driver of increases in the school department. The Student Opportunity Act has driven the budget up by over $100 million in the last 6 years. That money is given to us by the state to spend on our schools. We also have another $13 million that must go to state assessments that are mandated. We have another $13 million that have to go to our pension assessments. And we've obviously put 6.8 into public safety and solid waste. These are almost all mandated expenditures. The budget itself for the schools has increased by almost 40 or 50%. The regular city budget has gone up nowhere near next to that. We have actually reduced costs in some departments. I understand it looks bad when you look at the number, but that money, the school money, is given to us in 80% blocks. We have to match the 20. So the city is on the hook for some of that money, but we are obligated to do that when we took our money on the Student Opportunity Act. Schools are the drivers. Schools, the kids are the most important. We have 11,000 of them running around, and everything we can do to help them, again, I'm all in. When you look at the areas where we spend money in a city like Fall River, it's public safety, it's education, it's DCM. These are our big drivers of the budget. DCM, solid waste, roads, sidewalks. But as far as the overall increases, the driver of the increases in this budget is the school department and the Student Opportunity Act. Thank you.
Mr. Mayoral.
Can you repeat the question, please? Thank you.
Fall River's municipal budget has swelled in recent years, rising to almost $500 million in fiscal 2026. How can you, as the mayor, prove to the city's people that this money is being spent wisely and that you're the one responsible enough to manage it?
Well, we've already proven that the mayor is not responsible enough to manage it. We're looking at another $8.1 million that had to be transferred from city to school because they spend so much money they don't even realize it, that they were shortfall on the healthcare, that they now had to take another $8 million, which he didn't get approval for. He just decided to put it as something else, but that's really where it went. We talk about education being the catalyst. We are ranked 320 out of 356. So I don't care how much money they're throwing at him and throwing at us, and he says that the children come first. We are failing, exponentially failing our children. Our scores are lower, graduation rates are lower, the results just came out, IEPs were failing, we're under DOJ investigation for how we deal with IEPs. All of this stuff is failing. So the money's not the issue. Like they say, the mayor, Tom Corey, they've all said it. We got more money than we know what to do with, and we have to spend it because they make us spend it. Great, we have to spend it. Then why are you taking city money if you have all this extra money? Why are you taking from the taxpayers while the fire department is suffering? Why are we doing that? These are the things that we have to look at. So an audit will happen in certain departments. That will show it. Transparency, receipts for every single thing is going to happen under my leadership. And we're going to put the money back in the classrooms where it belongs, where the education actually happens.
Thank you. Mayor Coogan.
Why do we take the money from the city budget is because we're obligated to. When you get those Student Opportunity Act monies, you have to match them. But to run a budget, you have to have a clue what you're doing. I don't care about all his problems that we saw in the paper. Those are personal problems. I wish him well. That's not it. But when you look at what he does to manage a simple account like OCPF, which is what we pulled up, every red check is a notification of something negative happening in that account. 90 days late, 10 days late, 10-day notice, initial leave notice, filings, final assessments. He's appealed fines. I have one over the since 2019. My wife deposited a check twice. These are fines. He has to write appeals. He blames his treasurer. He blames his family. He can't manage a $20,000 OCPF account. How in God's name is he going to look at a $450 million budget? And as I said, I would never hit him with something negative or confidential. This is public record. Those red checks are all notices. Out of the 36 correspondence he got, 22 of them are negative. My position is you run the city like you run the things that are in front of you. I wouldn't do this. I would have straightened this out from the get-go and maybe had one or two, as he said when he started, but he's still making mistakes. He didn't have his treasurer certified this year. He doesn't understand how a budget works, and I regretfully think it's just from a lack of experience.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. 1 minute rebuttal.
First of all, that's when I first ran for city council, and my treasurer did disappear, and I couldn't change it without him. I couldn't get him off accounts. I couldn't do anything. So I also spent my own money. I didn't fundraise and do any of that stuff, so I could care less. OCPF was on me because they made them come after me, basically. So you can look at my accounts now. It's the first time I've raised money, and we're doing very well at it. He doesn't have that problem because they all do it for him. Okay, they all sit there and hand him thousands of dollars where he goes and runs around in parades like he's running the city and writes $250 checks to every organization so he can buy votes. And then this company will sit here and spend $10,000 while all their family members donate to him, and then he gives it away, and then he gives them the jobs for the city, and there's $20 million in taxes, and your taxes go up, and he bought it for $250. I can care less about that stuff. I'm not here to make money. Him and his friends and family are here to make money. Every lawsuit that we have is him, his friends, and his family issued in this lawsuit. Our taxes go up to pay for their cover-ups. That's the problem. So you can talk about the budget all you want. The budget's going up to cover your mishaps, to cover the sexual assaults, the sexual harassments, everything that you, your family, and friends are involved in. That's why the budget's going up. Budget's not going up because schools are costing us more money or teachers are costing us more money. We don't even have enough teachers to fill the schools that we have. It's not them. It's not going to the kids' education because, well, that's failing. So where's the money? Where's it going?
I'd like to go another minute on this. Let's go another minute back and forth again.
You don't get to dictate that.
No, hold on, please.
Question.
Wrong
Mr.
city.
Amaril's time is up. 1 minute rebuttal, Mayor.
Right. He's getting notices from 21 to 23, 24. He's still getting them in 25. So he said, when I first ran for office, okay, that's understandable, but it's not truthful. And as far as contributions, he's got $1,000 contributions from his friends too. Do I assume he's going to do something negative? Absolutely not. I believe he's raising money to try to build a campaign. God bless him. But my position is he can't manage an OCPF account. That's all I said. And then he said, it was when I first started, those dates don't line up. He started in 21. Those were all good. Then he went sour in 22, 23, 24, and 25. So that what he just said was not accurate unless OCPF has it wrong. As far as money for the schools, we do increase our teachers' salary. We do increase spending on buildings, and I'll do it every day of the week because those people need to be supported. I don't know what he's talking about. And the money we have to spend on schools, as I said.
Thank you. 1 minute rebuttal.
You can show whatever you want. I'm not the treasurer. I don't touch money. I don't touch checks. I don't touch cash. I don't touch a single dollar in that OCPF account. I don't log into it. You can check whatever you like. Has nothing to do with me. However, read what the notifications are. What are they?
Late notice.
Right? Late notice. A late notice on a report.
Waiver request, waiver determination.
Yep, there was a waiver request because of that.
10-day notice,
and it was approved based on, and it was approved. Why?
30-day assessment, 90-day assessment.
Yeah, on the same, it's on the same thing.
Okay. You wrote the letters. You wrote the letters.
It's my minute. You're supposed to listen.
You asked me.
Okay.
There's a notice, and it's the same thing: 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, and the same argument was placed based on the treasurer was not there. I could not remove that person, right, without signatures, right? So that was all there. Again. You're just showing the same process, the same thing. There's nothing there. And guess what? You're not going to do your budget. I'm going to have an accountant to do the budget. Who's doing your budget right now?
Accountants.
Thank you.
Who?
Thank you both. We are going to move on, but I do want to tell both of you that your time, your 90-second, your minute is your time. If you want to focus on the topic, that's fine. If you want to rebut a previous question, that's fine too. Our next question will be from Jamie Tyrell from WSAR, and it'll be directed to Gabriel Amaral.
Sure will.
One of the subjects I most consistently get phone calls about is the lack of affordable housing in the city of Fall River. How does your administration, with as much specificity as you can manage, plan to address this subject?
Working with the actual homeowners, the taxpayers, the 30% that actually pay the taxes, not the 3, 4, 5 people that donate to the mayor's campaign to get the TIFs and ties on 400 or 500 units, 50 units here, 16 units here, whatever it may be. We're going to let people invest, obviously. We need it. We need 6,200, whatever the units number is. We need it because it's an MBTA community. I'm all for that. We can't all do it all with just homeowners. I get that. However, we're going to give them the zoning privileges for a change. We're going to help work with the homeowner. You have an extra piece of land, you can build there. There's a 5-foot variance that you need, we're going to work with you. There's a driveway issue, we're going to work with you. We're going to work with the homeowners to help alleviate and build wealth for themselves, but also alleviate the poverty issue, the homeless issue, all that stuff. Because when you pay to build a home at $200,000, $300,000, you're not buying it at $1 million in this city where you have to charge $3,000 rents. And I don't care who says it, market rate rents in this city have never lowered rents a day in their lives, period. It's never happened. It's never going to happen. If somebody's charging $3,500, this landlord now says, okay, I can charge $2,500 and still make money, but I'll still be cheaper than them. That's how that works. It doesn't, supply and demand. Everybody knows supply and demand. It doesn't work in that category. So I'm going to work with the homeowners first and foremost. We're going to have investors. We're going to build units. We're going to have that stuff. So the supply and demand portion is still going to be there. It might work. It might not. We have zero evidence of that ever working here. It hasn't worked.
Thank you. Mayor Coogan.
Yeah, I do want to touch back on that for just a moment. When he asked for his appeals, he put his name on the appeals, not his treasurer. It was him. So he does know what's going on with his money. If not, he's not being truthful with the OCPF. Oh my God. And he blamed it on being in the military, and he didn't know he needed a treasurer. That's just not the way you run a budget. Affordable housing in the city of Fall River. We've kept the affordable housing inventory above the 10% threshold that's mandated by the state as long as I've been here. We've also have another 28% of our housing with Section 8 raft. Right now, we're rehabbing 58 units in the city of Fall River for affordable housing. We just did the St. Louis School, where there's 12 of the 18 units were given Fall River preference for a reduced rate on condominiums. Our housing authority went on to work with us on a moving on program which targeted 20 units for our homeless people. We've increased market rate development across the city. We brought in over $3 million of home funds. We recently purchased a 16-room rooming house on Rock Street that we think will help us get some of our homeless off the streets for the winter and give them a fresh start. Since I've been here, we've reduced our vacant and abandoned units in the city, or houses, from 150 down to about 40. And we are presently working with the Attorney General on the Building Blocks program where we identify abandoned property. They help us fund it, we designate it to be rebuilt, and then we give the owner the opportunity to buy it back.
Thank you. Mr. Mayoral.
So it's easy to talk about budgets and running budgets when every time you overspend, you just take it from us. If I had other people's money to keep fixing my budget with, it'd be fine. So we can say whatever we want. My OCPF is public. I don't hide it. Yeah. And that's why you brought it, because you need it. That's fine. Your budget's public too. And it's going up exponentially every year you've been in office. And our crime has gone up. Our schools have dropped. Our taxes have gone up. What have you accomplished? You've employed more people, more friends and family. We have more lawsuits. We have more deaths. We still don't have the public safety that we deserve and need. Fire department's been fighting for you for 6 years. You fought against their arbitration. Now all of a sudden you're all for it. You didn't find the money. The state gave you the money. That's who came down and gave us $1.6 million, right? We've been getting 1.6 on average, 1.6 million through the marijuana money, which is supposed to go to public safety. So that's about 7.1 million dollars, whatever it may be.
Thank you.
$7 million that hasn't gone to them. Where is it?
Mayor, 1 minute rebuttal.
Yeah, I have no idea what he's talking about.
I know.
I have no idea what he's saying. When you file your OCPF report, you're telling people that you know how to do a budget. He doesn't, regretfully. And as far as money, my money is audited every year. And as far as family working for me, I have no idea who he's talking about. I don't have any family working in the city. The one person I had was my brother. He left, and now he works for another company. But there's nobody left. But he says that stuff because he thinks that'll get him votes. But it would be nice if what he said was the truth. And I don't have any family working in the city. My position is we do best for the residents of the city. Affordable housing is being rebuilt now. We need more to do, and we're trying to work with our developers to make sure pieces. On Pleasant Street, Aaron Tetrell, well-known developer, 14 units, 6 of them are going to be affordable. The building next to it is going to come in with another 14. We're trying to sprinkle them throughout the city. I'm not a fan of the 12-story high-rises. We have enough of those. We'll work together.
Thank you. Michael Sylvia is next from the Fall River Reporter, and his question will be to Mayor Coogan.
A new report was released that showed the cost to fix the 2 city-owned parking garages is estimated to be $13 million. During the city council forum that we held recently, the candidates were split between selling the parking garages to a private company or fixing them up to keep the revenue coming in. What would you like to see happen going forward?
I'd like to see, obviously I work with the city council on something that big. The plan would be to phase it in using a bond issue to do the main structural work first. I think the structural work to get us going would be about $2.5 to $5 million between the two parking garages. Now, if when we have a proposal that's about 2.5 inches thick, which goes about assessing, rebuilding, security, the cost to rehab, how many parking spaces? Do we up the money necessary to fund this whole project through the ratepayers that rent parking spots from us? They're going to get a comprehensive look at what we should do with those two parking decks. They've been around forever. They were with the city. They went to the RDA. They came back to the city. We're going to lay a plan out working with the city council to decide the best way to go. My idea would be, let's rehab them, let's make them, get them up to standard, let's make them safe, let's make them clean, let's light them properly, let's make sure we use the flat outdoor areas for more parking and make it as something that we can build. We have so many people looking for parking spaces downtown right now that want to rent by the month. We have the flat one on 3rd Street, we have the parking deck, and we have Pearl Street. So my plan would be to rehab them, but if the council decides, let's sell this one, use the money to rehab this, let's build a one deck here, I'll be more than willing to work with them for the best way forward, but they're going to get the plan to them so that they can kick it around and make the best decision.
Thank you. Mr. Amaral.
I would rehab them. They're bringing in, the city has a knack for, getting rid of things that generate money, and then when somebody's done using it, they sell it to us and we buy it back at triple the cost and somehow end up fronting the bill to fix it. So I agree with most of what he said and making sure that we go through with the city council and do what's best for the taxpayers. But I do believe rehabbing them is the best option and generating the income.
Mayor, rebuttal?
It was really not a rebuttal. I think we have to assess it and decide the best way going forward. I thought it was a valid question by Mike. It's an extremely large amount of money we're going to have to tackle. We have to find the best way forward using grants, bonding money, looking at, I said, if we have to raise the rates a little bit, maybe that's what we got to do to help pay the bonds off. But as I said, I have a good relationship with most of the guys on the council. If they say to me, Paul, let's move this one, fix this one, build this, I'm more than willing to listen. And part of that is also looking at what we're going to do with the old police station. We've disconnected the water and the sewer. If we can get the prices out, I think the RFP is going out shortly, to take that down. We could put a flat parking lot in there right now to alleviate some of our stress in downtown, whether it's for the new housing going on Bedford Street or the post office going down towards Main Street itself. I know we could get some flat parking in there right away, even though it'll be on a hill, but it would, again, relieve some of the pressure downtown.
Thank you. Mr. Amaral, 1 minute?
No rebuttal.
No rebuttal? Okay. Next question from Pamela Martin will be directed to Mr. Amaral.
So we live in New England. For obvious reasons, the snow budget is fluid. Fall River has more than 250 miles of roadway, clearly a lot of hills. Today, the city announced the need to hire independent drivers. What will be the hourly pay compared to other cities nearby? How will you ensure that our contractors will be paid to keep our roadways passable this winter?
I mean, the money's got to be, you have to have a set fund for that. If you look at it this way, we're bringing in over $8 million a year just in excise taxes, but we're only spending $5 million. Well, I've said this before, over the last 6 years, it's about $18 million that's just disappeared and ends up in the general fund and goes somewhere anyway. So we have money that we can utilize and move to that just in case fund for such things like that. EMS is generating income and generating money, so that money is going to have to be utilized for some of the city's bills. So we're going to have to put a fund away specific for that. But if we don't get the snow, which the last couple of years we haven't, things like that, we can move the money back and put it where the city needs it most, without using all of it, of course, because again, you never know. It's still New England, and you don't want to just flush it. You want to make sure that you have something there, so this way you don't have to raise taxes and you don't have to increase the burden on the taxpayer every time. You want to make sure that we're using it wisely, but we're prepared to do that. We can't have electric companies going 8-9 months and leaving us because we're not paying them. We have to pay our bills. We can't paying late fees on the bills that are coming in and then losing $14,000, $15,000, $20,000 at a time. That money adds up. So we need to make sure that we're frugal with our money, we're responsible with our money, and we're paying our bills on time so we don't waste the extra money on the late fees and the extra costs.
Thank you. Mayor Coogan.
I think the question was about how are we going to be competitive on snow rates. And I know what we've done since I've been here is increase. Now we try to stay at the state rate. The state sets a rate when they go out looking for trucks, when they go out looking for pickups or big dumps. And there's two rates, for the big trucks and for the small ones that are more maneuverable around Fall River in the streets. So I think last year, we would have maybe 100 pieces on the road during a storm. We would look to do that again, but it's a very, very competitive market. And every time we go up in price, we look around on the map and the next town goes up $5 more and the next town goes up $3. So it's turning into a bidding war because there's a set number of trucks out there and people don't want to plow anymore because there's not enough. This is just crazy. I know this much about it and I know Gabe hasn't been exposed to it like I have. But you got to rent insurance. And when you rent insurance for a snow truck, it's very expensive, and then there's no snow, so you pay for the year of snow insurance, and all you do is curse. And they come to us, and they want a stipend or an assessment, and I'm not ready for that yet. But you have to stay competitive. You have to work with them, and you have to hope you can get enough trucks to get through the storms. I think we have maybe 20 or 30 trucks in-house. Those guys we pay the overtime to, but at the same time we need more pieces, and it is a bidding war from town to town to town. Thank you.
Mr. Armo, any rebuttal?
Yeah, the only thing I would do is I would bid out that insurance. I understand that insurance is required, especially when it comes to snow removal. I've actually done business outside of taxpayers paying me, so I understand how it works. I actually used to plow. I've done it. I've worked with water and sewer. I understand how that works. I've done it. So I do understand that insurance is required, clearly. Just giving it to your friend that owns the insurance company isn't always the best answer. Sometimes we actually have to get insurance from elsewhere. So I think if we bid it out and do those things, that's a necessary cost we need. It's New England. So some costs you can't get rid of. We understand snow is going to happen. Roads have to be paved. Those kind of costs, we understand that stuff. It's the frivolous spending that goes beyond that. In the last 6 years, we've gotten more money than we'll ever see again, and it's gone. It's all gone. So we could have used that to fix a lot of the stuff that got us to where we are now. That isn't being done, so now we're being charged to fix it anyway. You're talking over 160, 170 million dollars that came in. I don't know the exact number offhand.
Thank you. Thank you.
We had it.
Yep. Mayor, 1 minute.
Well, that went off the rails. What I want to say to that is the money is gone. It's gone to police cars. It's gone to schools. It's gone to water. We put a ton of money in relining our water pipes and doing the streets and sidewalks that accompany it. That ARPA money was spent. We put a book out. Our ARPA accounts were audited, and we got a lot of bang for our buck. It helped the city immensely to take the pressure off the ratepayers for water, off our taxpayers for streets. Again, when you look at the tasers, the recreational things we've done, we invested that money in our city to make it a better place for everyone to live in. Again, back to snow. When I say insurance, I mean the truck drivers that are coming from Joe's Construction or Sally's Landscaping. I didn't mean the city. We have our own insurance. Those people have to go out and buy insurance for snow removal, and it is expensive. I feel for them, and maybe there's something we can do down the road if we don't get enough snowstorms to offset the amount of money they spend on their insurance, was all I was saying.
Thank you. Dan Medeiros is next with the next question, and it'll be directed to Mayor Coogan.
The city's waterfront is extremely valuable property, but it is not the whole city. Who do you think should be in charge of overseeing development of the Route 79 land, and how can you as mayor use your office to safeguard the best interests of all citizens?
I think that the redevelopment authority is the best way to protect the land on the waterfront, although I think it's going to be a partnership with the state that's going to come out of this in the end. That land is extremely valuable. The question becomes who controls its development. Do we get one developer that's going to come with a plan to build X number of buildings along the waterfront with retail, restaurants, some office space, maybe a little commercial, a parking deck, a green space? We have tremendous visions for what we can do down there. And the best way to do it, if it ends up, is a partnership with the state. They want to control parts of it, and the city wants to control parts of it. So we sit at a table and we come up with what's best for the residents. As you know, the tax receipt potential from that property is overwhelming. We can also have a number of units there. It's amazing to me when I go around the city and see the number of people moving into our city that are moving into our units. I know I was talking to one of the developers the other day. 70% of the units he just rented out were to out-of-towners. That's new money being brought into our city, and we need it to pay rent, to buy groceries, to have laundry done. It's very, very important. But if we get to control it singly, Dan, I'm fine with that. If it's a partnership, I'm all in. And I'm not even against it if the state takes the whole thing over. Whatever happens on that waterfront is going to be a boom for the city of Fall River, and we just have to control the growth down there.
Thank you. Mr. Amaral.
What was it, 70% out-of-towners? We still have homeless people here, but that's good for us. It's bringing money in. No, it's not. It's bringing money to that investor. However, the RDA is by far not the answer I'm going to give you. They've been here since he's been here, since he brought him back in, since he brought Mr. Fiola back in. Can't name a single business that's brought money in. What development, what money has come in, what business has come in? Why would I give them the waterfront, which is the only thing that's probably going to make or break this city and help the taxpayers? We have the option to really make it work for us and help give us a break for a long time and give us a life again, give us some breathing room again for a long time, or it's going to be the next CSO project. And I believe that the RDA would make it the next CSO project, because that becomes conflict of interest. That becomes, you know, here's Carol, here's Ken, here's all the conflict of interest, here's everybody making money except the city once again. We just did he just did, you know, he's only a consultant, so, you know, South Coast just bought 2 buildings on the waterfront. It's $5 million. Not a dime of that comes to the city, but he works for the city and we're still paying him to redevelop the city. Doesn't make any sense. So when I look at these things and I look at who's around, and it's the same money, and he just talked to the investor, so he already knows who he wants to give it to, and that's fine. And I'm not against the investors. I love investors. I want them to come and show us plans. What I also want to see is real development, where it's not going to be tiffs and ties for everyone.
Thank you.
And we front the bill.
Thank you. Mayor Coogan, 1 minute rebuttal.
Yeah, obviously the waterfront, as he knows, Mr. Fiola is a consultant to the RDA. He's not on it. That board is a 5-member board that votes on the proposals. They don't have to do what he says. They can make their own decisions. But if you go in the industrial park right now today and you look at what's going on up and down that whole stretch, you have Paul Giancas' building being converted to a pharmaceutical company from India. Invigen is investing there. Signs out front, jobs available. Freeze Pack at the top, right across from the Neon or Seasons, whatever that rest area is up there. A huge building, 200,000 square feet. Blount Seafood, still expanding. Gold Medal going into the industrial park. Takeo, I just toured it last week with our congressman. They're making heavy-duty water tanks for data centers, and they're competing with China and the South, and they're paying people, welders, some making up to $100,000, more than I ever made in education. These are good, high-paying jobs that we need in the city of Fall River.
Thank you. Thank you. 1 minute rebuttal.
Yeah, Wholesome's moving. Got it. Same company. You're recycling the same companies. They're growing, and that's great, but we're recycling the same company. And you're saying it like the RDA went out and found these businesses. You're saying it like Ken went and consulted and found these businesses. That's not what happened. These people look, they come down, they're looking for a space. We have the space. You think Ken is just going out there searching for these people in India? He's not. So again, we're giving credit where credit's not due. So on one end, he's a consultant for them, but yet nothing happens without his say-so. He's a consultant for himself as well, because on the waterfront, he just did $5 million that didn't go through FROET. So he can do whatever he wants. Now, that's $5 million that the city had no touch on, no money coming in. Why? So we can argue this all day long. The RDA is not the answer, and the waterfront needs to be done correctly. We get one shot at this. We've already proven 6 years worth of one shot's not going to make it work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jamie Tyrell has our next question, and it'll be directed to Mr. Amaral.
Currently, the city of Fall River is preparing to go out to bid for a new solid waste contract. The cost of both trash and recycling has increased significantly over time. How will you control the cost of solid waste removal in the city of Fall River?
Well, one, education has to be a part of it, but the bidding process has to be done. What? New Bedford's cheaper. Brockton's cheaper. All these surrounding cities are cheaper and paying much less than we are. Why? There's an answer somewhere. Why aren't we reaching out to them and asking? Why aren't we finding that out? I have a meeting with them. I'm going to ask. We need to make sure, trash is expensive, we understand that, but we also have an attorney who's also works for the city, but also works for where we got to dump our trash. But yet we're told we have to go there. So Easy is being told that they have to go all by everywhere else to drop it off here at, we're not going to call out names, we're going to drop it at B instead of A. You'd think that hauling cost isn't costing more money, more fuel, more time? Also, maybe we work something out with Easy or whoever the contract may be where they're not doing it so long during the day because it's during traffic hours early morning. Maybe we do something third shift in certain areas where it alleviates a lot of that traffic, a lot of the congestion, a lot of the accidents, where it's taking its toll and the fuel cost. Maybe there's a way to work around it. We have to think outside the box and start working for it because we're not going to lower the cost of trash. We have to figure it out. One, we need to find somewhere better to dump. We should have used the ARPA money to build a state-of-the-art incinerator is what we should have done because then everybody would have been bringing us our trash. But instead, we gave it away. All right, they weren't going to come and look for it anyway, is what we're told. So we gave it all away instead of investing it. That money did not create a single business that could create its own longevity.
Thank you. Mayor Coogan.
I got to go back to something he said. The $5 million purchase of land on the waterfront was outside of the zone. That was Michael Mayoral, who's owned that land for a long time, selling his property to South Coast Hospitals. It had nothing to do with the city, any more than him selling his house to me has something to do with the city. That was a private sale, and it's not even in our district, our zone of 19 acres we're trying to buy. I'm glad Michael Mayoral sold his land to South Coast Hospitals. They're going to put a state-of-the-art business building on that waterfront, which will increase foot traffic and get people down there going to the restaurants and going out to eat. When he talks about trash, again, Michael, I can't believe it. He doesn't understand that New Bedford owns their own landfill. They're paying $20 a ton. We're paying $130. I can show him by the math that that's a quick savings. They never sold their dump. They kept it. So they get to dump for next to nothing. If we had kept the landfill in the industrial park all those so many years ago, we would have been so much better off. But we did make a move that in the long run hurt the city. I can tell Mr. Mayoral I had nothing to do with that sale. It was many, many years ago. But those low bidders are the ones that get where the trash goes. When that company out of Dartmouth bid for the tonnage, they gave us a per ton rate that was lower than the other dumping places.
Thank you.
That's how it works.
Thank you. 1 minute rebuttal.
No. Then why didn't we just go and ask New Bedford? Because clearly it's cheaper, it's closer. But no, our attorney is an attorney for them. Connect the dots. This is the same constant that we have in this whole city hall. Everybody's connected. We could have saved money. Did we ask? Did we go to New Bedford? Did we go to Wareham? Did we ask these people? We didn't. Why? Because he already has the connection here, and this is where the money goes. It's that simple. There's no reason to rebut the rest of it.
Thank you. Mayor Coogan, 1 minute.
Yeah, of course we went to New Bedford. They don't want our trash. They got a time span on their landfill of 7 or 8 years, and they're not looking for Fall River to fill it. I had a conversation with people in New Bedford. No, thank you. We got the cheapest price we could get at that landfill where the trash is going. And the attorney's talking about, I thought, now I finally dawned on me, recused himself from the whole thing. It was a bid process. You write a number on the paper, you put it in an envelope, and you send it in. That's how it works. I don't know what he's talking about. He brought up a state-of-the-art incinerator. You couldn't get an incinerator permitted in this state if you jumped through hoops for 6 years. They're not into that right now. I would have no problem with an incinerator, but there is no way Massachusetts is permitting any incinerators. We have looked at a number of high-tech, innovative companies. They were still working with one that may include a trip down to Virginia to look at their facility. We are struggling to find a way to lower the trash costs, and we're going to keep working at it.
Thank you. Mike Sylvia, we'll have, actually, this will be our last question of the evening, and it'll be directed to Mayor Coogan.
How does Fall River balance the need to help the homeless population, but also address the concerns of the families who live near the encampments?
Good question, Mike. So homelessness is a real struggle for the city of Fall River and for all communities. I'm not the wizard of this. You build a good street outreach program, and you go to work. You go to work. We put people in. We've just cleaned out Kennedy Park. There's no one in down there. We paid the homeless people to help us get the stuff into trash cans while we put roads in to the back down near the water because we couldn't get back far enough where the stuff is. Is there more cleaning to do down there? Yes, but as of last week, there was no one there. I'm not saying there's not anyone there tonight because they move around a lot. But at the same time, it's a struggle. That's why when we look at the 16 units on Rock Street, Mike Dean had a meeting this week with Tom Mello about the opening of the overflow shelter on Bay Street that we funded, that we built, that we put programs in to help them. And people say, well, why wasn't it open all year? It's very tough sometimes to get homeless people into shelters when the weather's nice. They literally prefer to sleep outside. They don't want to be bothered. It's a struggle. We've received another $500,000 to Connect and Protect grant. We've reduced our opioid deaths and our overdoses so significantly that we're noted in the state. We work round the clock to help these people. I mean, I go down there myself. I was at Kennedy Park for the cleanup, and I was down there trying to get people into program. And then regretfully, some of them are former students of mine.
Thank you. Mr. Mayoral.
Can you ask it again, please? Sorry.
How do you balance the need of addressing the homeless situation, but also addressing the people who live around the encampments? The neighbors have people breaking into their yards and houses, not really houses, but taking stuff from their yards and clothing, that kind of stuff.
I mean, accountability on the criminal side has to be done, right? We have ordinances in place, we have laws in place. The accountability has to happen. Our police department can't do it all. I think working hand in hand, work in tandem with social workers to be able to direct the mental health portion of those people immediately as opposed to waiting and going through the court process and doing those things, they'll probably be much easier for them to work that category. As far as the criminal aspect of it, we have to be out there. We have to get the police officers out of headquarters and on the streets. We don't need them in finance, we need them on the streets. And we need to actually hold the people accountable. As far as the people living around there, they got to do their due diligence too and report what they see. Let us know. Don't just let things happen. We have to stop doing it with the with rubber gloves, right? We have to stop just coddling people and trying to do that. And I'm not saying everybody's a criminal. I'm not saying that. Obviously, if they need resources and they want resources, we have them. The mayor has done a good job with that portion. I will give him that. He shows up. He does the cleanups. His FAST team does a great job. I do like what they do for the most part. However, we don't hold people accountable. We do things when cameras are on a lot, and that doesn't help the problem. That just eliminates the problem for the day. You go by Denny's right now, go behind Denny's right now. We were there today. It's all stolen school laptops that parents are getting charged for. There's needles everywhere. There's pillows, there's all kind of stolen goods, boxes from their parents. They can't have that.
Mayor, 1 minute.
Yeah, I will like to talk to one of his plans that he put out there when he was campaigning. He wanted to take RPA, which is this building on Rock Street, the old Durfee, where he alleged the school committee, the city council, everybody in the city was sending kids to rot, he said. And he wanted to turn that into micro units. He was going to take the income from the school, which we spend on the school, $3 million. He was going to take the $3 million we spend on homelessness, which I guess he didn't look at the budget, but over $2 million of that is for almost like Section 8 vouchers for people that need permanent supportive housing. These are elderly, disabled. These are people that need support with their rents, which is what we were all just talking about. He wants to grab that money, the school money, which you can't do, and then pay MSBA back the $12 to $15 million we owe them for the windows, the boilers, and all the money they put into that building to make it a school. The plan has no chance, no merit whatsoever, but he's saying it during a debate like he could make it happen. He could if he wants to pay back the money.
Thank you. Mr. Amaral, 1 minute.
One, RPA was one building. The school money was never mentioned as far as taking that, just the $3 and $3.5 million that he spends on homeless every year that just continues to get wasted, and we grow because we keep giving them more stuff to come here for. Holding the rehab facilities accountable for getting these people back to where they come from, that's going to be a part of it, right? Put policy in place for that. The money for RPA is going to stay with RPA because those students, that staff, the faculty is still going to be educating, and those kids still need that money. So that there's no mixing school money. just goes to show you he hears what he wants to hear, or he's just going to try to fearmonger and say those things. The money I was talking about was the $3 million or $3.5 million, whatever it is, that he speaks on, that he uses for the homeless problem. That's it. No more, no less. Fixing up the building is still costing us fines because, you know, asbestos and everything else, illegally, and like everything else we do, we half-ass it. Excuse my language, but that's the reality. So it's costing us more money to actually fix the building. And RPA being one of the buildings of choice, he just said Pine Street's going to be available.
Thank you.
Maybe we use Pine Street. It's
Thank
not
you.
rocket science.
Thank you. Time now for our 90-second closing statements. And first up for his closing statement will be Mayor Coogan.
I believe that this was the most sharp contrast of all the debates I've ever been in for mayor. I want to thank everybody for putting it on. What I was talking about were things that are actually happening, and I think a lot of it got melted into Mr. Amaral's message. I don't really know if he put out one tangible thing that's gone on that he wants to do. And Fall River isn't perfect. We face more than our share of challenges as a city. My administration has made incredible strides toward addressing challenges over these past 6 years. We worked tirelessly to get this city back on the right track. As mayor, I've dedicated myself to making Fall River a better place to live, making significant investments in our schools, sidewalks, public safety, and so much more. If reelected, my administration will continue to prioritize safety, economic opportunity, and quality of life for working families just like yours. And I will continue to put Fall River first in everything that I do. I still believe in transparent leadership that listens and acts with integrity. That's why I'm respectfully asking you to reelect me on November 4th. Together, we can keep Fall River moving forward and keep it on the right track. Thank you all very, very much for watching tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Amaral, 90 seconds.
The questions are simple. Do you feel better and safer today than you did 6 years ago? It's a simple question. If you can sit here and nod your head and say, yeah, you know what, I'm doing better, then stay with Mr. Coogan. By all means, if you think he's doing a great job. I, for one, do not believe that a people's mayor being stabbed on our streets and basically stabbed in the face, almost considered attempted murder. Thankfully, he's a strong man and survived. Is an exaggeration and being, you know, taken out of context, as the mayor has said today on the news. Yeah, you know, it's just being exaggerated. So the stabbing on Sunday didn't matter because it wasn't a prominent person. I guess we're just exaggerating on that as well. Dead bodies in the woods for months at a time, it's just an exaggeration. The homeless camps, the dead bodies that we're finding in those, it's just an exaggeration. The cost of living, it's just an exaggeration. All the things that we are suffering from, he doesn't have to, because when he doesn't have it, he just comes to the city council and says, we need more. And that's easy to do. You don't get that luxury. Your jobs aren't doing that for you. You don't get to say, oh, well, the mayor raised our rates again and raised our taxes 2.5% again, and he's going to charge us these increases again. You don't get to say that. And your boss be like, ah, you know what, we're going to increase that. He has that luxury of living off the taxpayer. He did it for 30 years in the school department. He's never created a real job. He does it in City Hall. He's never created a real job. But yet all his friends and family are living off of our tax dollars.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to thank both candidates and our panelists for joining us tonight for this debate. You can watch replays of this debate, our debate with the forums with the City Council and School Committee, our interviews, and our candidate statements on our special FRC Media website, frmedia.org/election2025. There you'll also find information about the election, a sample ballot, polling places, so you can be prepared to vote on Election Day. And please do vote on Election Day. And later that night, please join us as we'll be collaborating with our colleagues at Fall River Government Television to bring you the results on election night. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.